Hello everyone, welcome back to Energy Toning with Liz. In today's video, I have a chat to a lovely lady by the name of Pavla from infinitevitality.love, and she is a transformational energy healer, and she's done a lot of work in the Neo-Shamanic healing arts space. So today we just talk about her experiences with this work and the power of it to transform lives from the depths of despair to blossoming into something beautiful. So enjoy. So take me back to the very beginning. When you started to look into energy work, like what was the moment that you went, everything's energy. So if everything's energy, then I should be working with that.
Interesting. Okay, so my personal journey, it actually started with the physical body. So I was on my healing journey after, a lot of circumstances changed in my reality, in my world. I was on a healing journey, and for, I don't know, past 15 years, I've been interested in healing our bodies naturally. How can we do it with herbs? It's part of my childhood, growing up in a village in the Czech Republic. I would be always in the fields with my grandma, picking up flowers and fruits and stuff, and then making remedies. So it's always been part of my life. And that was the 15 years of my life. And then I went into cleansing, very deep levels of cleansing the physical. And then I started to notice how much more I can feel. So that was really interesting, and intuitively, like how much more I could be in stillness and just like have senses of different things around me and within myself too. And from that, I was guided to this practice called quantum flow, which similar aspects of Qigong, that is your mastery, are in this practice. And so it's with movement and breath work, we were able to shift trauma from the body, which is very close to your heart, and you've got deep understanding of. And I'm like, wow, that was incredible. So I went again into a full-on training for, 3 months or so, and just really mastered it, lived it myself, releasing along the way. Yeah, it's been all healing very deeply. And then we finished this training, and my hands started to be like very restless, and I felt like I need to do something with my hands, and I can't describe it. That's all that was playing in my heart, in my mind. And then my teacher popped into my field, and that was that. I just resonated straight away. I remember there was a webinar that was starting in 30 seconds. I just discovered the link, random spam in an email, and I click in, and that's when it started. And I'm like, wow, he's my man. And so I signed up, and that was me. That's how I really started to understand energy. And also, Liz, how it's all connected. It's everything. Our food is energy, our thoughts are energy, and then we can go into the depths of it. That's how it all kind of started for me.
Beautiful. And so that moment of herbs and physical, I mean, it is all energy, but the crossover between the tangible to the non-tangible, because obviously herbs and concoctions is something physical. And then when you went into the quantum flow, what was it that you experienced in that class directly? What were the sensations that you actually had where it was a moment of like, oh, wow.
Oh, I can tell you straight away. I remember the moment when it was 10 o'clock at night. This guy popped up again on Facebook somewhere. I Googled some of his classes. There was a lesson. I was in the kitchen. I put the video on, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I can move and I can flow. It would be just this rigid, and there's no, and then for the first time, I felt like the energy was flowing through me. So that's when it was like, wow. And from there, that just kept expanding, and yeah. And now it's a natural state. Once we release all the blockages, all the stiffness in our bodies, all across all the bodies, all the fields that create us, then it just flows, and we are tapped to the motherboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. And in terms of any like physical breakthroughs that you had just from doing that kind of work, like, you know, from maybe an illness or something going on to a shift into, you know, more well-being or a healing or
With the movement, you mean?
movement, or just that feeling of energy or
Well, it changed my life. It changed who I am. Yeah, because as many of us, I was carrying so much pain and trauma from childhood and my ancestors. And this is what is so beautiful about this work. And we don't usually, in a 3D reality, we don't usually even realize it, that whatever our parents lived, whatever their grandparents lived, and all that, the ancestral line, we are part of it. We are carrying it within ourselves. Yeah, their blueprint is us. And so often, you know, there's so much pain, so much struggle, and it's not even ours. And that's like building our foundations for our life, and that's what we pass on to our kids, and that's this vicious cycle. And so I was able to release so much of that across all levels, you know, across all levels. And I know I'm working on very different timeline to what, let's, for example, what my sister or my mom are on, from that ancestral point of view. And as you know, probably too, you know, it's not work for the light-hearted, and it takes commitment. And once we know life can be different and we can create it whatever we want, once we are willing to let go of the conditioning, these layers of onions, I always say it in our sessions, and people that come and work with me long term, they come with certain idea of what they would like and not really being able to get there. And at the end, they just blossom and they're like, yeah, now I get you. Now I know who I am. Now I feel my heart. And that's just priceless. So that was my own journey. Yeah. Once we can let it all go, and we can truly be who we are.
It's kind of like once you've delved into this realm and you've had one moment of realization, and it opens up in layers, I've found. But once you've had one, it's like there's no turning back now. You've had a taste. It's like that felt good. I want to feel more of that. How can I get more of that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what was your background like professionally before you entered into this kind of work? What's your background?
My background, I used to build cafes for people.
Oh wow. So
yeah. So we had a coffee shop in Sydney for a number of years. It was a really beautiful institution that I was really proud to be part of. And before my son was born, I worked for coffee companies across Melbourne and helped them to build up their businesses and expand, you know, whatever. That's an old world. That's like past life altogether. It was a lot of fun, but always around people and yeah, building teams and procedures. Very different.
There would be some crossover though in terms of, you know, marketing and
of course,
in some way.
Being able to connect, heart to heart. That's been always my strength, and you know, build strong teams and cultures for the business, and from there everything grows. And that's like energy healing. We build it in here, that column within ourselves, and everything else will benefit as a result of it.
Yeah.
Our relationships, our health, all that.
So take me from start to finish. When first of all, what kind of people walk in your door? What kind of challenges are they having?
I work with a lot of women, not necessarily, but a lot of women feeling lost, not having passion in life, health issues, having troubles in relationships with husbands or partners or their children, unable to connect. Women that lost their identity throughout the whole motherhood journey, not knowing who they are, not knowing what they should be doing. That's what's coming at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And on average, like, do people stay with you for a couple of sessions, or is it once off, or how does it?
Look, I have been offering one-on-one sessions for once off. However, what I've picked up now, as we said before, it takes commitment. So now people come and do one session and they feel great for a week, and then they go back to the old ways. Yeah. And it's like, you might as well save yourself the money and save my time, because my intention is a long-term change. It's that transformation that will bloody change your life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no going back. And so I actually have created an offer recently. So that's the first time I speak about it with you. That could be a little private VIP launch party. I've created a 12-week journey for women to go on this deep dive into their being, where we work on the physical, the emotional, the mind, the soul, all that, bringing it into alignment, and bit by bit, and that's a 12-week program that is intensive, and we just go and we create as many shifts as possible in our world, in our pantries, in our fridges. That's part of it. We go on to cleansing journeys, adjusting our lifestyle, movement, what we talked about, and of course the energetic work as well. And just working with the chakra systems, releasing the trauma, the pain that we carry within ourselves. And I really have seen it with people that committed to that journey.
Yeah.
Previously, they changed their life.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come to me and you just want to like play and test it out, cool, come, one off is fine. But if you come as a woman that wants to change her reality and really tap back into herself, and knowing that there is so much more for you than you are currently experiencing, that I'm the woman for you. Because I can get you there with all of this magic.
It really is the environment, isn't it? It's creating an environment so people, that seems to open up more possibilities for people in their mind, as opposed to if they just come for one session, then it might feel good to them, it'll feel nice, but it's kind of like you fill them up for a bit, like you said, and then they go back to their life and it's the same. And so after a while, I have started to wonder, what am I actually doing here? Like, am I facilitating people's stuckness and just giving them a little bit of entertainment, or or could one session be that life-changing moment for someone? And I've seen it work both ways as well. Exactly. Like I've definitely had some sessions with people where it's like they've made a massive realization in that one session, and they've gone away to really digest it and go, wow, and they've gone that way instead of that way, kind of thing. So there is that. But yeah, in terms of, we're such creatures of habit, and our nervous system is, geared a certain way over so many years of programming. Exactly. And so, it's biological to try and change habits and our thinking. It's not an easy thing to do. So I love
for the period of time it goes there. And my love, I think it's important we understand as well that so much of our actions and beliefs and the way we show up in the world, it's unconscious, based on the reality of our parents. When we were sponging things up as a babies, what we talked about before, that blueprint that starts creating ever since conception, that's got a certain hardware kind of operating system. And so we need to realize that often none of that shit, and that's what I called myself so many times. It's like, this is not me. This is not mine. I'm like, no, thank you. I know who I am. Now I feel. And so it's really fascinating. So feel good for a week, cool, and then go back to the old way of thinking. And it's like, well, no, that doesn't create the life-changing change. that
Mhm.
reminder of who we came here to be. Yeah, we all have these beautiful gifts to contribute to society, to each other.
Mhm.
And you and I perhaps are blessed to be on that path, but we all should be. We all
Yeah.
should be. And if you don't feel that fulfillment, that joy to wake up every morning, then I would start asking questions. Why not? Do you
Yes.
find that too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the more of us that actually, get in touch with what are the deeper wounds and how can we move past them and use a variety of techniques to do that, that just elevates the whole consciousness of the planet, because we're all interconnected. So when we see people when they're doing good things in the world, we can either like go, oh God, I wish I could do that, or we could go, yes, they're an example. So how can I also show up, as my best self, and that has that ripple effect out. I think people are just we're so used to being told what to do and how to be,
that would be
and
part of it for sure.
mm,
Yeah.
and we don't want to stick out, and because
Ah,
that's
we know
about,
all about it. After past few years of
well,
living in
yeah,
Melbourne.
yeah. What
Mm.
what an example, right? Like, and
Oh,
it's the slow Marxist creep that's sort of coming back on a global level, and I guess this is another thing. People like you and I, and people doing this kind of work have to kind of be aware of, but then go, okay, yep, that's there, but we're gonna what can we envision that's not that, rather than fighting against that, how can we show up in another way, to create that ripple effect, to be an example, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. And if if people like it or not, if they are aware of it or not, the changes are happening. It's
They are.
happening. And we can see it. It's so much more clearer. Even in terms of, again, I will use my clients as an example. The amount of people that tell me after the session that, oh my goodness, I could feel you pulling the energy throughout my body. I could see this coming or going or whatever, and having visions. That wouldn't be very common comment after a healing session. So I feel something is really shifting on a much larger scale. What I
Yeah.
think, I know, we all know it is. And even if kicking and screaming, everybody's coming.
Yeah. Eventually.
And mm,
Eventually. Yeah, definitely. So while we're on that topic, where do you think we are in the process of this evolution at the moment? Like, so one of the signs obviously you've seen is through your clients, they're feeling things that maybe they might not have felt in the past. What other signs do you think in terms of this consciousness shift that's going on the planet?
well, no, I will be honest. I have been staying in my bubble. So I'm not going out onto social media. I'm not following any other people. I'm just really, so this is purely my own feeling to it. I think people are realizing that things can be done differently and that they have choices. They are asking the questions, and the ones that are ready for it, they are looking for the answers to help them. I definitely feel we are becoming much lighter, if that makes any sense. There's a lot more plasma light coming down, especially now. This morning I was connecting in the morning, and I could feel the earth energy. It was just really strong. And being solstice as well today, it might have something to do with it. And what my beautiful teacher keeps saying, once humanity can reach the 60% for 55-60% of living from the heart, then we know we have come across the threshold. And I think we were on something before the crazy COVID times. We were on something like, let's say 30 or 20%. That took us 5,000 years to get there.
Yeah.
Over the past 3 years, we have got up to 45. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything is speeding up in the most beautiful way. And we are going. If we like it or not, we are
Yeah.
going.
It feels like to me we're at the exponential part, like, you know, that the graph that goes like that, and then suddenly it goes like
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah.
Did you come across, you know, there was a lot of buzz on social media the other day about the spike in the Schumann resonance. Like,
Yeah.
what do you make of that? Like,
Well, look, it's by us doing this work, we are ascending our consciousness by grounding it deeper into earth, into our 3D reality. Yes, that's my perception of ascension. And the same way, the earth is doing the same thing. Yeah. So, beloved, earth's got 12 layers of consciousness. 12 dimensions, same as us. And so she is also ascending. And that, of course, will come with some rumble and bumble as we go, and will create some disturbances. Yeah, that's
kind
what
of
I
like,
think. How about you? What do you reckon?
yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the signs that I'm seeing that there's change, one example, you know, I took Athena, my daughter, to see a doctor the other day, just about, that was a bronchial thing, and I just wanted to double check. I can't remember the conversation, but somehow she came up with, oh, well, you know, all disease, everything is related to stress. You know, like, it's all stress. And I know that 10 years ago, you would not hear a doctor sort of say that. That
Yeah.
would be like pushing something on you. And this is a very sort of 3D doctor, although I think she might be slightly more open-minded than others. We're lucky in that perspective. But yeah, and I just thought, oh, well, that's a shift, because I remember seeing.
That's a refreshing
Yeah,
comment.
yeah, that's right. So there is sort of some, you know, that mind-body realization that our environment and our thoughts impact that. So that's one thing. I mean, I what else? I mean, I'm seeing both. I'm seeing the stark reality of some sort of totalitarian control coming in, and you know, that's hard to ignore. When you think about CBDCs coming in, like digital currency and digital ID, and you know, the social credit kind of idea that is encroaching on society. And so sometimes I think, well, where do I put all that, and how would we opt out of it if it comes to that? But another part of me is thinking, well, the reason why that is happening, that totalitarian energy moving in, is because of this shift, this consciousness shift. And so it's the last grasp of, like, no, we've got to maintain control of things. And you know, the question is, how far will they get before it really crumbles? I mean, I think a lot of it is crumbling. You do have a lot of people asking questions. So, and then, you know, you could get into the astrological realm of things. You know, next year there's a big Pluto theme, and Pluto is about fall of empires and all of that. And so there's that kind of energy going on. And I think we are connected to that astrological part.
I just always like to, we are most definitely connected to, everything is connected. We know that. But what I wanted to say, energetically, yes. Wherever we put our attention, wherever our intention goes, our attention goes, that's what feeds the narrative. Yeah. So if we choose to worry about one world order and well, what are we feeding? Yeah. Even though if we are against, we are feeding that agenda. And they're very well aware of it. So the more fear it gets created, it gets stronger and more powerful. So, hey, no, thank you. That none of that is even in my awareness. You know, I am focusing on how many people can I help? What is the life I want to live? And that leaves the other side helpless, because they've got absolutely no control over that. You know?
Yeah, it's bringing in that being in the moment, and just acknowledging and embracing where you can be powerful in the moment, because there's so much we can't control. So you might as well just pull it all back in and just
absolutely. What's in our hands, right? Right here, right now, in this moment when we can share our beautiful stories and experiences, and that's all we have right now. So why? And that's the other thing, yeah, that people come anxiety, they are anxious, they are worried, and then feeling guilty that they cannot contribute. They come and say, Pavla, how can I, I want to help. I want to save the world. I want to feed the hungry children. God bless, of course, everybody. But again, you know that too. The biggest gift we have to give is to become ourselves.
that's
Let
right.
go of the pain of the control, and that's our contribution. What if it's as simple as that? And from that, everything else will go.
Yeah, you can't save the world. In fact, I don't even think that that's a mission in a way, or a life purpose, because you kind of have to save yourself. Like, save yourself. I mean, that in one way that sounds selfish, but by healing those wounds and those traumas, and then asking, well, then how can I use my mess as my message to help others? Then that's kind of how you do change the world, right? Or
Exactly.
save the world, or whatever. It kind of has an automatic flow on that.
Yeah, for sure. And so we need to ground that. We need to ground our essence into the 3D world, into earth. Often it's all about, the higher chakras, the strong third eye and the crown and da. But if you imagine energy, this is my understanding of it, So if we've got the 7 chakra systems in our body that are creating our field, and everything is connected to that. And often people, especially, more of the spiritual people, they are incredible at connecting to the higher realms, and really tune in and receive messages and channel gifts and all that amazing work. But the lower chakras, the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, heart, they are blocked.
Yeah.
They are blocked because there's so much pain and trauma. I'm sure you see it in Qigong sessions too, and people just can't. And so we become this, how do you call it? Funnel? Yeah, this funnel, it's like this and that. Instead of us being just this wide column of light, it gets very limited, and we cannot fully ground our essence into the earth, the 3D plane, which is the whole intention of this experience on earth, to be able to ground, overcome all these obstacles, and from that we become unstoppable, because there's so much we can receive now. Traumas, the pain, that's the triggers, none of it is bouncing back. We are like, yay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting how people who are spiritually orientated, it's almost like they want to let go of the physical experience, because that's irrelevant. It's an illusion anyway, right? So, and in one way, yes, it is an illusion, but at the same time, it's really not. In fact, there's a saying in the particular Pangu Shenggong practice that I teach people. In the advanced form, there's a part where we have to say heaven, earth, humanity in harmony, right? So it's bridging the two and bringing them together. And so to deny that physical part of ourselves is in one way denying the higher parts as well, because if you can't sort out the lower, then you're not really going to have a lot of access to or you can't make use of what you're getting from the
Exactly. Absolutely. And once we can anchor that through the lower chakras into earth, then anything is possible. That's when we really become the creators of our reality. And so from the teachings that I have received, it's that understanding of the Divine Mother, the sacred Christed triangle, the Divine Mother, which is our earth, Divine Father, that's God, Creator, Universe, whatever we decide to label that, and then there's that Divine Child. And we are the Divine Child, and we are in the triangle, and once the energies can flow and they can unite through us, that's when we are living in that beautiful that's the purpose.
Mm.
That's the purpose of our being, right?
You just described the Trinity perfectly there, really. I mean, that is the definition of the Trinity. Other ways of looking at the Trinity, you know, so it was the mind, body, soul. Then you've got the sun, the moon, and the earth. What's the Christ, the Son of God, Holy Spirit. I can't remember the Christian term, but it's the same thing. It's always three, right?
It's always the same thing. You just give it different names, different labels, but
exactly.
they all resonate with different offerings, I guess. So that's all good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, everything's symbols in a way, and they've all got their own kind of energetic power. But yeah.
Absolutely.
So with what can you think back to one of your clients who really had a dramatic kind of shift? Like, what was their journey like? And what was the turning point?
Had a dear man that I worked with, who I met originally through my group sessions. I used to run group sessions every Monday night, and he would come dirty and smelly and wouldn't eat for days and really in terrible mess. And a few times I worked with him, and then he's like, that's it, I'm ready to change it. And he signed up for 12 weeks with me. And this man was suicidal. Wow. And throughout the whole journey, he would come, and a few times he tried to end the story. He almost finished a program together, and I'm not taking any credit whatsoever. I know he's done a lot of different work as well, but this contributed to it, I'm pretty sure. He came for our last session the other day, and you know, he was just beaming. He was happy. He was excited. He was starting a new relationship. One of his dreams was to go and dive with the sharks. So he drove for a 5-day adventure to Adelaide from Melbourne, and really got to tick that off his bucket list. And, you know, to see him as the man that came, that was really not wanting to be here anymore and only hang around because he made promise to his sister and his nephew and his niece, to the man who was like, I'm fucking owning it now. And you know, it's like, wow, that's priceless. That's
absolutely
priceless.
Amazing. And you know, you say you can't take credit for that, but what you did is create an environment for him, and you saw him, you held space for him, as they say, and that can be deeply transformational. And with your mothering, you know, divine feminine nature, I can imagine that you just would have created this container for him to feel safe. And
thank you.
So beautiful.
Thank you. I think essentially this work is all about reminding people, who they are, and really seeing them truly, as you said, without the conditioning, without the heaviness that they carry, and just reminding them of that constantly. And allowing these beautiful light energies to anchor into the blood cell, into the cells of the body, and into the organs, and support that with the little flushes and cleanses. So then on the other end, it's like, wow, what have I been thinking?
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about, so you've been studying with this teacher. What's his name? I can't say his name. I just see his name, but I can't pronounce it.
Christoph Melchizedek is a divine man. He's from New Zealand. He is building a Neo-Shamanic healing society. So I'm one of his students. I'm one of his early students. I had a session actually before our call, and this beautiful lady I worked with in Canada, she goes, Pavla, I need to ask you, did you go to some mystery school? because this was incredible experience. And I'm like, yes, I have actually. Just to refresh what we all already are. So he's a really incredible teacher, and I'm very blessed to be part of his school.
Speaking of how we were talking about looking for indications that there is a shift going on, people like him and others are starting these kinds of schools. It's like there's some kind of resurgence of the mystery teachings, and that things that were probably more relegated to secret societies are now sort of coming into the more mainstream. That to me is a huge indication that things are shifting. And I mean, it probably, going back to the 60s, 70s, that's when it started to, probably when yoga was it had its light of day basically, and then that it just became so popularized. But now all these different modalities are coming online, and places are offering different things, and for all globalism's faults, at least it's connecting us all more and lighting up people. So it's great to see what he's doing as well. So what are the kind of things that you've been, from start to finish in the course that you've been doing?
With Christoph? Oh my goodness, there is so much. But if I should put it into one little picture, it's the understanding of our being, understanding how everything works. And that I found, it blows my mind. There's so much more. I know I got a glimpse of it. There is so much more to go into and learn. But what I feel really, really, really grateful for is to understand how we operate as human beings, and how I can take that knowledge and help somebody else to bring them back into their original blueprint without all the pain. As we understand, the chakra systems, they're all holding on to those emotions. Certain parts of our body are holding on to the pain, the trauma. The amount of cancer patients I worked with, and it's like to their bones, they are holding on to that pain, and then suddenly they have to experience the fucking illness to pay attention. It's like, no, can we let it go now, so you don't have to be dealing with hospitals and think that only option is chemotherapy? Other client came with heart issues, and for 60 years he was carrying a pain about losing his son 60 years ago, and he connected it so closely, and so being able to tap into that, being able to tap into the organs, into any part of our body as well, and shift that, restructure that, heal it, release the pain, release the emotions. We also work with breath work, so from the nervous system, from the physical body, as well as the movement, we get to shift it, we get to move it. So it goes across all, We can work on the energetics and then go into the physical, the nervous system.
So it's really a whole body experience. So there's physical, movement, nutrition, I'm imagining.
Absolutely. And, there's no way we could cover any of that in like one session. No. That's why the 12-week program is essential. And that's, I feel, will be also like the foundation to get started. So clear the physical temple, and then we can expand more.
Fantastic. So this, do you want to talk more about your next offering? So you've got
thank you.
Tomorrow. So that's in Brunswick, is it?
Oh, the workshop.
Yeah, the workshop.
Sure. So every few months I like to bring women together and go deep into all things feminine, all things feminine. It's funny because this workshop that we run on Saturday is actually going to be about the masculine side. So the balance between the two, understanding the feminine essence, the masculine essence, no matter if you're a man or a woman, we carry both, yeah. And then how do they well govern our life if we are in too much of a protector and we worry too much and we just are focused on the achieving and go, that's very strong masculine energy. And if the feminine is more about that allowing and flow and the beautiful, gentle, loving, nurturing energy. So it's a big aspect of understanding how that operates from us, just bringing awareness. Then we go in a really beautiful, deep ancestral healing of the paternal line. So all the men in our line, our sons, our husbands, our parents, you know, we can do a beautiful healing there of our homelands. We will work with the liver as well, releasing the anger and rage and resentment from the liver. So it will be part of it. We'll offer a cleansing protocol for people that will join us. To support the physical again. And yeah, just a beautiful space to be heard and seen and be part of.
Yeah.
Something magical.
So that's tomorrow. No, tomorrow? No.
That is on the 24th, so Saturday. Saturday the 24th.
Basically integrating the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah.
Beautiful. In my world, the Qigong world, we say the sun and the moon.
Sun and the moon, there you go. How beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, one is masculine, one is feminine.
Yeah, and then it's sun and moon combined. So
exactly.
We work with the energy of those two things and then bringing them together. So it's all relevant, especially at the moment, because people are so lost about what is masculine, what is feminine, and the lines are blurring, and you know, it's
so important to understand. And it doesn't need to be difficult. It's just common sense.
Yeah, common sense, and it's, you know, it's honoring both. It's not one to the exclusion of the other. Like that's just against nature in so many ways.
Exactly.
And so tell me more about the 12-week course that you're offering. When does that start, and how could people get involved?
Oh, bless. Thank you. The 12-week course, my goal is to start in July. So I'm going to be opening maybe 5 spots, 5-6 stops. I want it to be beautiful, intimate experience. I really believe in the power of working in groups because we can go deeper. Speaking of a consciousness before, we can expand that into our communities as well. So I'm really excited about that. It's by application only. It won't be suitable for everybody. So I really want to choose the people that are ready for it. So it's worth the investment and my energy and time. And it's a whole restructure of who we are. Yeah, my focus is on relationship, working with women that would like to improve their relationships. And obviously we will start on the relationship with ourselves. So going into the depths of that, of understanding of who we are, who have we become as a result of this happening in our life. How can we let that all go? As I said before, we'll go into the food, into the lifestyle choices. How can there will be daily practices, movement that we can start creating some kind of a routine and structure in our day that will support this expansion. We will be working with crystals, with the organs. Let's say the first couple of weeks will be about the root chakra, the anchoring, feeling safe in this present reality. Yeah. And how can and then the organs related to that, the kidneys, the adrenal glands. How can we support it with foods? For example, parsley or beetroot, all these beautiful foods will be very supportive of the root chakra, grounding us. Which essential oils can we use to support us? We can have in diffusers around the house. Which crystals will be supportive? And of course, we will do the energetic work, the ancestral work. As an example, So 12 weeks where you won't want to look back, because it's designed to change.
It sounds fantastic. And are you offering this online, or is it in person, or how's
This
it
will
work?
be online. As a part of the session, if there's friends in Melbourne, there's few one-on-one sessions that can be done in person. And of course, my intention is to do gatherings as well. If people are local, then just start creating the community of empowered women, and from there growing it more. And I'm really passionate about working with moms, because that's where it starts. Once the mother that holds the household, once she is happy and she is onto it, then it's a ripple effect. The husband will be happy, the kids will observe differently, there will be, and so that I feel the mothers are the joining factor in everything.
Totally agree with that. It's happy mum, happy family.
Yeah, absolutely. And from us, our kids are learning.
Yeah.
And then they will be teaching their kids, and that's how we are changing the generations. This is the work that we are here to do. And I feel, our parents, they would never be able to do the work we are doing now, because the conscious awareness wasn't there, the support wasn't there. And so in that human evolution, as we are going, we were okay, their pain, felt all the pain, we had to feel some of it also, so we can realize the healing that is necessary. And we have the support, and we have the tools to do it now. So then our children can have totally different reality. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
And that's what it's all about.
Because our generation, I mean, we think about our parents and their parents. I mean, there was world wars in that, and that has a lot of trauma attached to it.
Oh my goodness. Of course. And being in Europe, like I grew up in Czech. My grandparents, they lived in the wars when they were children. The villages were burned down. Like, it is in the consciousness of the people. And then communism coming in. It's fact, and so much work we had to do. And I have done personally myself for the country, for that, the whole Eastern Europe part. There's so much trauma. So
the people from Eastern Europe that I've known, often I've sensed that trauma in them, that they might be my age, but you can sort of feel the trauma. And so different countries have different traumas going on, but that's obviously one part of the world that would have had that energetic lineage, a lot to heal there. But I mean, of course, there's all the other things that have happened in the last, I guess, 100 years.
And you see that every single one of us doing the work. We are doing our share. We are creating more light, and all that is being transmuted and healed and released. And our ancestors are receiving also.
Yes.
So I know my grandfather and his lineage, they are all receiving at the same time. So on the soul level. Yeah,
that's a very it's a native indigenous way of thinking about things, isn't it? That's or where time is not really relevant. It's just an energetic timeline that continues on. And so when you heal one aspect in the present, it has domino effect in past and future.
Absolutely. They say 7 generations up and 7 generations down. So I think I went the other way around, but yeah. And it's only on Earth we are in this matrix of time and space, but anything else, it's non-existent. The time is not linear, we know that. So let's honor that.
So where can people find you if they want to reach out to you? What's your website address? How can they contact you?
Thank you. So there's few ways. My website is called infinitevitality.love. So I can be contacted there. Facebook, Pavla Paryzkova. That's got my maiden name there, so you can connect with me there. Maybe we can check the links underneath into the comments or something. That could be fun. On Instagram, you find me under Infinite Vitality with Pavla. And of course, in Melbourne, we run workshops and I'm around different yoga studios. So it would be beautiful to connect in person. Yeah.
Well, I'll put all those links in the description below. And,
thank you so much, Liz. It's been such an honor and such a pleasure.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining me and having the chat. I love that that we can connect in this way and yeah, share love.
Absolutely. Always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So grateful.